When people talk about losing someone, they rarely talk about the room they leave behind. The door that stays closed for too long. The half-drunk water glass. The charger still plugged into the wall. My brother's room was at the end of the hall. And for 6 months after he died, I walked past it like it didn't exist. I'd take longer showers. Leave earlier for work. Sleep with headphones in. Anything to keep from hearing the silence that lived behind that door. Leo was 19. We were 2 years apart. He was always the loud one, the wild one. The kind of person who filled space just by being. Now the space was all that remained. The day after the funeral, our mom changed the sheets. I hated her for it. She said she needed to keep busy. I said nothing, but I held that anger like a secret hobby. Because grief makes you strange. It makes you territorial about toothbrushes and pajama bottoms. It makes you think the smell of his hoodie is sacred. I remember sitting outside his door for hours. Not opening it. Just listening. For what? I'm not sure. Maybe for the rustle of sheets. Or the music he always played too loud. Or the stupid thud of him dropping his keys. But it never came. Only the stillness. We had plans, you know? We were supposed to move out together after college. Get a tiny place with loud neighbors and broken heat and mismatched mugs. We joked about painting one wall red for no reason. He always wanted a red wall. There's a pair of sneakers in that room. The ones he wore to his last concert. He told me that night was perfect. I never touched them again. You think time will help. That eventually, grief will shrink. But no one tells you that grief doesn't disappear. It just moves in. It becomes the roommate who doesn't pay rent but rearranges your furniture. It makes you cry at soup commercials. It makes you flinch at photos. It makes you pause at the end of a hallway, wondering if you're brave enough to open a door. One night it was raining. I couldn't sleep. I walked down the hall like I had 100 times before. But this time I turned the knob. The air hit me like a story I'd forgotten. There was dust now. His bedsheet still wrinkled. A jacket slung over the chair. One sock on the floor like it was waiting for its pair. I didn't clean. Didn't rearrange. I just sat on the bed and whispered, "Hey!" Like he might whisper back. The hardest part about losing someone young is that you still expect them to walk in. You don't expect death to feel this unfinished. I found his notebook on the desk. The one he used for weird thoughts, as he called them. He wrote, "I think memories are like dried flowers. Fragile, beautiful, and useless in the wind." I closed the book and cried into my knees. Because he was right. And also wrong. Memories aren't useless. They're everything we have left. I go into the room more often now. Not every day. Not to move on. But to sit. To remember. To let grief breathe instead of sealing it up. We repainted the wall 2 months ago. Red. Just like he wanted. And every time I walk down that hall, I touch the doorframe. A quiet ritual. A nod to the boy who used to live at the end of the hallway. To the brother who made space loud and love loud. And left me with a silence I'm still learning to carry. My name is Elena. And this is the story of a room that stayed full, even after he left.